Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. It's me Chetan Magar and welcome to my channel. Okay, let's start. US announced 11 billion weapons sale to Taiwan. The Trump administration has announced a huge arms scale worth around 11 billion dollar to Taiwan, which include advanced rocket launch safe self-propulsion Wizard and a verified to missile. This package, which still need to be approved by the US Congress, will be the second arm scale to Taiwan, signed Donald Trump returned to the White House in January. China, which sees self-government Taiwan has a breakaway province, condemned and the move, saying it's severely undermined China's sovereignty, security, and terminal territorial integrity. Taiwan Defense Minister thanked the US and said the deal would help to Iceland in rapidly building robust deterrence capacities. The US has firmly tried with Beijing rather than Taiwan and has worked at night diplomatic route for defense, but it's remained a powerful ally of Taiwan's and Iceland's biggest arms supplier. The latest arms sale has announced Beijing, which has in recent years ramped up pressure over Taiwan with military drill and regular incursion into its water and airspace. The US attempt to support independence throughout first will only backfire, and its attempt to contain China by using Taiwan will absolutely not succeed, said its foreign ministry spokesman Joe Jikan. It will only accelerate the push toward a dangerous and violent situation across the Taiwan Strait, he said. The latest package features high mobility artillery, high mobility artillery rocket system HIMARS worth 4 billion and self-propellants Wizard worth 4 billion, according to the US Defense Security Corporation agency, which announced the detail late on Wednesday. The size of this scale, if it goes through the work in 19 round of arms scale, totaling 8.38 billion during the previous administration around Joe Biden. And this first time, Trump had approved arms sales to Taiwan, totaling 18.3 billion, the largest package worth $8 billion. The US State Department said the deal served Washington interest by supporting continuing effort to modernize its armed force and to maintain a credible defense capacity. China has long vowed to reunify with Taiwan and has not ruled out the EU's first to take it. It is threat that Taiwan is increasingly taken seriously. Its plan to boost defense spending to more than 3% of its gross domestic product next year and up to 5% by 2030. In October, President Lai Ching to announce that building of a dome-kill air defense system to guard against hostile threat without maintaining by China. China has grown increasingly assertive in the region, often raiding neighborhoods with unusual move. In June, Japan protested following in unpreparedness state naval drive by China aircraft carrier in the Pacific. More recently, two countries have been separating over the Japanese Prime Minister's suggestion that Japan could deploy its own self-defense force of China and attack Taiwan. Tension escalated this month as both sides face off near despite Iceland and China fighter jet locked radar on Japanese aircraft. Venezuela announced Trump's order for ship Baghdad, Baghdad as onboarding threat. US President Donald Trump has ordered a total and complete blackout of all sanctions while entering and leaving Venezuela, a move denounced by Carrier as warmongering threat. Trump wrote that Venezuela President Nicol Maduro's government has been designed for foreign terrorist organization FTO, which had also engaged in during smuggling and human trafficking. Age remains come after the US seized an oil tank off the coast of Venezuela last week, a significant action in light of the South American nation's reliance on oil. The US has also recently conducted dealer strike on legally Venezuela drugs smuggling boat and has significantly built up in naval presence Norway. Trump post did not give further detail of how the wide-ranging blackout in sanctioned oil tank would be inferred. As of last week, more than 30 of the 80 ships in Venezuela water and approaching the country were under US sanctions according to the data complained by tankertracker.com. Multi new US sanctions on ships said to be carrying Venezuela oil issue after the tanker was seized. Sanctions were also placed on some of President Maduro's relatives and on businesses associated with that the US called is illegitimate 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 regime. In this Truth Social post on Tuesday, Trump wrote that Venezuela was completely surrounded by the largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America. He added that it would only get bigger and be like nothing they have even seen before. Trump also accused Maduro's government of using stolen oil to finance themselves, drug tourism, human trafficking, murder, and kidnapping. Tuesday post from Trump's suggestion that label the US had previously applied only to Maduro was new, being winded to his whole government. Last month, the US firmly alleged that the Venezuela cartel do los Sol group was an FTO. The designation meant that Maduro was effectively designed as a terrorist as well because he was alleged to be group leader, which he denied. In response to the recent US action, Venezuela, home to the world's largest proven oil research, has accused Washington of seeking to steal its resource. Trump has rapidly accused Venezuela of drug smuggling, and since September, the US military has killed about 100 people with its strike on boats that were allegedly carrying fentanyl and other illegal drug on the US. However, it has provided on public evidence that the visual were carrying drug too in fentanyl, which is mainly produced in Mexico or Ocean. Another ship accused of during drug trafficking was destroyed by the US military on Wednesday. US officials say 4 men were killed in the strike, which took place in the Eastern Pacific Ocean. Venezuela economy is heavily dependent on the oil export, even though the amount of oil it actually produced in relatively small, given that the country is home to the world's largest proven reserve. When announcing the tank or research of Venezuela cost last week, the White House said the vessel is question called the Speaker had been involved in illicit oil shipping and would be taken to the US port. Venezuela's government described to move with Maduro, saying the US kidnapped that crowd and stole the ship. The US had been building up its military presence in the Caribbean Sea, which border Venezuela to the north, in the week and month before the raid. The building of has involved thousands of troops and the US garnered for the world's largest aircraft carrier being positioned with striking distance of Venezuela. Congressman Joaquin Castro, a Democrat President Texas, said Trump naval backyard an unnecessary an act of war. He added that U.S. lawmaker would on Tuesday vote on a resolution direct the president to end hostile with Venezuela. The U.S. under both Trump and former President Joe Biden has opposed the Maduro government for years and pressure for him to removed by imposing stringent sanctions. Maduro government has been accused of right abuse by the wider international community for many years. Venezuela opposition as well as many national including the US denounced last year election as race and say his rule in therefore illegitimate. On Tuesday, the UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk warned that the country cracked down on civic space in intensify suffering people freedom. Miss Finland viral slated eye photo star racism firestorm. Finland delegate to the last month Miss Universe pageant held in Thailand has sparked controversy and outrage after a photo of her filling the corner of her eyes went go to viral. Sora Defies, who has been stripped of her Miss Finland crown, uploading to the photo with the capital eating with the Chinese that stain I pose is often seen disrespectful to East Asia. The post drew backlash in Japanese, South Korean, and Chinese stockist in 22 years old and even against her country flag carrier Finnair. Finland's Supreme Minister weighs in on Monday, saying that making such gestures was thoughtless and stupid, and that the controversy that unused was demanding to Mr. Duffus, claiming the gesture was her reaction to the headache during dinner. She said a friend added the offensive capital to the 11 December post without her consent, according to local tablet Sanamot. Mr. Jaffis has apologized for the photo. No, nothing it has caused it well. In many people, that was not my intention in my way. One of the most important thing for me, respect for people, their background and difference. He wrote an Instagram post. The apology still drawn criticism, with some calling its instance given it was written unfinished. One person wrote that was unloved for Asian people didn't do anything to you. We still displayed in you. To right wing PMs in final, Juha Yurukul and posted photo of themselves making DJ faces gesture to show their support in Beauty of Queen. The posts were taken down after Blackish European Irola apologized, admitting he felt Mrs. Desi has given disproportionately as punishment. Finnish Prime Minister Petro Orpo commended uh, fundamental the PM council, adding that lawmaker a strong target Venezuela's legal resident and Chinese, so it's so title sign of support. Venezuela Prime Minister Nicolas Maduro could be forgive for wondering who his true friends are. Once rock solid, his reliance on his two main allies, China and Russia, now appear increasingly uncertain. For few years, both countries support Venezuela's socialist-led government policy, politically, financially, and militarily. A relationship that began under former President Hugo Chávez Maduro major of producer. But experts say that the backing now seems to be largely symbolic, with a statement being given in support rather than concrete military or financial yet. This step comes as the US has deployed air and naval force, including a nuclear powered submarine spy plane and 15 troops to the Caribbean. The US has conducted a strike on board in the frame that it alleged has storming drugs killing more than 80 people, and recent say it's sized and will tanker off the cost of Venezuela. The Trump administration has said the military built up and striker are targeting drug trafficking and tanker had been sanctioned, but many experts and Maduro himself believe Washington's real goal in regime change. So that the Venezuela president out of large greatest need which is change. Professor Fernando Reis, Matt, director of the Center for China Studies at Andrew Bella University in Chile, agrees that Venezuela has become a firm priority for both Beijing and Moscow, especially signing US President Donald Trump returned to the White House. There is no reason today for either Russia and China to go to all defending Venezuela given their other problems such as Russia and its war in Ukraine and China trying to coexist internationally with Prime Minister Trump said. Since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2019, Moscow has proposed enormous resources into the conflict, stretching both in finance and its military. It has also faced sweeping Washington sanctions. On this leave, few resources for allies that previously defining from Kremlin's support, say Prof. Vladimir Rovsky, the director of the Laboratory of Politics and International Relations at IC University in Columbia. Syria and Iran, Moscow, long-standing ally in the Middle East, have faced similar fight in recent time. Russia will not risk receiving more sanctions than it already has, and China will not risk gathering more tariffs imposed in its own defending Maduro. Pro Rovisky explained. Okay, thank you guys. Stay tuned in next video.